This is Mr. Hill Goddess with Luna Sage. Hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in this week for Murder in the Family Part 2 on my dad's murder case. I am going to give a little backstory on both my father, Thomas Thoney, and his killer, my aunt, Janice Green, as well as a little more information on why I feel this case was not handled with much care and the justice system did not give my father and his family the justice that we deserved. Growing up, every memory I have where my aunt was around, my brother and I had to walk on eggshells around her. Well, everybody had to walk on eggshells around her. If it was 1 p.m. and she was still sleeping because she stayed up late the night before, her own choice, not because she had to go to work or any other reason, we had to make sure we were quiet. We realized very quickly if we were out in the living room talking and laughing with my dad, she would come out to the living room and yell at us to shut up. That would start an argument between her and my dad because he would tell her not to talk to us like that and that it was 1 p.m. anyway. She knew we were there for summer visits and she didn't care. We quickly began to be very quiet if she was sleeping. We didn't want her yelling at us, and also we didn't want to start an argument with her and our dad. We also learned very quickly that if she had just woken up, we do not look at her, we do not talk to her. She would give us the meanest looks. I remember her as a miserable person my entire childhood. Without fail, she would make every holiday that we were around for really awkward. And again, we'd have to walk on eggshells. No one dare say anything to her about her behavior either, and it was always that way. The only person I ever witnessed speak up to her when she was being mean was my dad. I watched her talk to him like crap and talk down to him about his spelling. There was this one time when I was visiting, he was filling out some paperwork and asked me how to spell a word, and she was walking into the room at that same time and made a comment about him needing to go back to school and being stupid. I was livid, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to cause any problems. You really had to pick your battles with her. My dad was more likely to speak up if she was being mean to one of us kids, so he didn't say anything to her, but you could tell that she really made him feel bad about himself. She would blow up, and it would turn into a much worse situation if you did say anything to her. There were just little things that she would say all the time to make people feel like crap. So that's what I mean about walking on eggshells around her. She would very easily and very quickly snap at you, give you a mean look, make a nasty comment towards you. My dad, on the other hand, was cheerful and goofy. He was easygoing and had a positive outlook. Even though he had been through so much, he always stayed positive and tried to just keep moving forward with a smile. I remember a time when I was visiting for the summer. I was around 15. We all went to bed. I was sleeping in the living room on a couch that had a pull-out bed. I couldn't sleep. I had insomnia. So I was just laying there with my eyes open. We are in the forest. It's dark. No one around. I hear a car, and then I realize it stopped. And then I heard car doors shutting, and I was super scared right away. So then I see shadows of multiple people walking by, And then I hear banging on a window to the house, which I realized was my Aunt Janice's bedroom window. So I went to my dad's bedroom door, and he came out with his shotgun and told me to get in there, don't come out. He immediately went outside and told them they all better leave and not come back. They weren't going to come and intimidate his sister. I was stubborn and scared. I wanted to make sure my dad was okay, so I was watching out of the living room window the whole time. They all left right away, and you could tell they were scared. But he wanted to protect us immediately, and that was just the type of man that I remember him as being. My dad was the type of man that would give someone the shirt off his back. People really loved him. How could you not? He listened to you, he showed empathy, and he wanted to help people. He was funny, and he'd start being goofy to try and cheer you up. That was one of the things I remembered as a sad teenager, is that he would be goofy with you and give you a hug and try to do what he could to make you smile. He was a really hardworking guy. He took pride in raising his sons, my brothers, and he always taught us to stick up for ourselves. He loved us very, very much. He was a great man. Now that I've told you a little about the two of them, I want to talk about why, other than the obvious 12-year sentence, I don't think that justice was served. My aunt used drugs throughout the years since I was a teenager and had started drinking very heavily. She started intimidating people with her gun when they would go to my grandmother's property, or the property where her and my grandmother and my dad lived. She got really sick on drugs and alcohol to where she began pointing out shadow people in bushes, shooting into bushes, and was doing the same thing in her house. She had been shooting into the ceiling of her house, saying there were people in the crawl space. She had many, many bullet holes in the ceiling of her house. When we met with the DA, we told him that she had been on drugs and alcohol, and my brother let him know that she had been intimidating people with her gun. And for quite a while. She had made it to where my grandma couldn't even have visitors anymore because they were scared to go to the property. She would point her gun at people. She would point it into the air. She would shoot it off into the air. He told us that he would have the investigation team go and collect statements from those who witnessed her doing this, because he said we would have to have someone witness her doing this. My brother told him, oh yeah, there are plenty of people that witnessed, her doing this with her gun. He also informed us that we would hear rumors that he's retiring, and that is true, but does not mean that he won't give this his all, and wanted to make it clear to us that he will not retire until after this case is closed. I was immediately worried. I was concerned that he would not give it his all because of this. Another court date goes by, and my aunt's defense team asks for more time because they were waiting for her psych eval to be done. The DA assured us at that time that if it came back saying that she's insane or mentally incompetent, that he would have his own psychiatrist do an evaluation. So then the Friday before her next court date was the Friday before her next court date to set a trial date. He calls a meeting with my family and tells us that the psychiatrist says she is schizophrenic and likely has been since she was a teenager. I'm pretty well informed on schizophrenia and mental illness in general, and never once saw any signs of that from her. But I do know that if you have mental illness, that heavy alcohol and drug usage can definitely put you into a psychosis. He tells us that she wasn't tested for drugs because they didn't see any signs of her being on drugs. Mind you, she was extremely drunk and had just killed someone, but okay. I wonder, why is it not mandatory to test for both drugs and alcohol? Anyway, then he tells us he spoke with her defense team and they are willing to plead guilty for both second-degree murder and burglary. 10 years for the murder and 2 years for the burglary. He says this is our best bet. As I see it, he made absolutely no effort, and like a lot of cases today, wanted to offer a deal and have it be over with. He wasn't interested in having his own psychiatrist evaluate her anymore, even though he told us he would. He took her history of mental illness from her mother, my grandmother, as the truth, and apparently didn't take anyone else's into consideration, even though she's the only one who wants her to be free. And 12 years is what we can get for this. Anyone else think that seems like he did just want to be done with this? And doesn't this also show that if you want to spend years doing drugs and alcohol, worsen your mental health, put yourself into a psychosis, and go kill someone, that you're just going to get a slap on the wrist for it? Let me know what you think. Tell me in the comments. I will be starting video podcasts very soon, and you will have the option of watching or just listening, whichever you like. I appreciate you taking the time to listen tonight. I would be super grateful if you would go give my podcast a share and a follow. Episodes will drop each Thursday at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Good night and much love. Music by freebeats.io.